Here we go. It's time to have our Sunday afternoon Bible story, and I'm all ready. You ready to sing? Oh, yes, let's sing. Let's get it going. What are we going to sing? You know, it's theme song. This gospel train is chugging at the track, chugging at the track, it's chugging at the track. This gospel train is chugging at the track, chugging to the glory land. That's right, Chesley. This gospel train is chugging up the track. It's Bible story time. I'm gonna see Jesus, yes I am. Gonna see Jesus, yes I am. Gonna see Jesus, yes I am. Yes I am, yes I am. And that's up in the promised land. And who all can go? It's got to be those people that respond to Him in faith and love. Oh, and it's get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, Chesley, we can. I'm glad that I gave my life to Jesus when I was 8 years old, and that was last century. Oh, well, yes, Chesley, that actually was last century. You don't want me to bring it up. Oh, well, no, I didn't want you to bring it up, but you did, so that's it. So, Chesley, I'm glad that I've known Jesus a long time. How many years? We're not going into that. Chesley, let's talk about our Bible story today. You already been on this thing, hadn't you? Yes, I've already had this out today, and I've done something online. And you didn't invite me? Chesley, I wished you had been here. It would have been really good if you had been. Well, you should have invited me. Well, I know, Chesley, maybe I could have, but I did, because, it was for adults. Well, they want to hear me. Pastor loves me. Oh, I know. In fact, I've found that a lot of grown men, and sometimes they push the kids in. Oh, Chesley, just a minute. Now, you don't want to say push the kids around, but we will say that we have seen it in kids' crusades that an adult would go down and get their child that was sitting on the front seat and hold them so they could be on the front. And then the other kids couldn't see sitting behind. That's right. The kids sitting behind couldn't see over the adult's head. And you had them to move. Right, we'd have to say, it's okay, but could you go, you're kind of tall, and they could get in the floor. Well, we have had them do that, sit in the floor. But Chesley, let's go on and talk about our story today. We have a story. We're going to talk about prayer today. And some people think it doesn't work. You know what? That's right, Chesley. There are some people that think that it doesn't work. And some people think it's just being a sissy. Well, it's not being a sissy. And some you can pray to anything. I know there are people that think you can pray to the bark on a tree. They think you can try to use it. What those things called idols? Oh, yes, like idols, things that somebody else has made out of wood or made out of metal, and that they can't hear. That's right, they can't hear, and they can't answer. That's right, they can't hear or answer prayer. But we have the one true God, and you can't see Him. Even though we can't see Him, we know that He is alive and well, because He's at work in people's lives. That's right, He's at work in people's lives. And He worked in yours. Yes, He worked in my life, and I'm so thankful for that. But Chesley, we've got a Bible story, and that's what we're here for. We're going to do about Jonah. No, we're not going to talk about Jonah. We're going to go way back in 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 41 through 48, or 46. I know what we're going to talk about. I don't think you did, since you thought we was in this other place. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. Is a man named Elijah. Oh, God used him. He was quite a preacher. And was he famous? I think you could say he was famous. He's in the Bible, listed many times, and God used him in many miracles, and that was because he was faithful. God uses faithful people. Yes, He does. And Elijah, he saw how that the king there in Israel, he wasn't living for God. Who was his name? His name was King Ahab. Oh, he had a wicked life. That was one problem. He didn't do well in his marriage. He married a woman that she was dishonest, and she was hateful and mean, and she didn't love God. She did not love God, and so Ahab was already turned to be wicked, and his father hadn't lived for God, and now he wasn't going to live for God, and he had a wife she didn't with God. In fact, she was always conniving. What does that word mean? She uses knives? No, I didn't say she used knives, but I see if the word conniving, you might have thought that. But actually, she was just very wicked and evil, and thinking of how much things she could do to the prophet Elijah. And she was after him, and he was the man of God. Yes, she didn't want to hear it. And Elijah he started bringing in idolatry. You know what's idolatry? Well, you know, Chesley, what that is, that's worshiping something besides God. They're worshiping idols, maybe like I said, the sticks and the stones. And he was telling the people, this is what I want you to do. Instead of the one true God, it makes no sense, I'm going to fire it. No, you can't fire him, Chesley. But he had the people turn to such wickedness. It was an awful thing. And you know, God's heart was broken when he saw this. And what can he do? Well, you know, Chesley, he could just come down and do it himself. But he chooses to use people, and we get to help. We get to be a part. So what he did, he spoke to the prophet Elijah. And how did he speak to him? Well, in his heart, he just knew. And God spoke to him, and he knew what he was supposed to do. And he went down, and the prophet was talking to Elijah, and he told Ahab how he needed to live for God, and he had been doing wrong. And so what did Elijah say? He didn't care. Elijah didn't think he had to listen to him. Who are you to tell me? He just didn't have anything to do with him. He didn't pay any attention. You know why I think he didn't? Why didn't he? Because you said he's the king. You had to listen to him. He didn't have to. That's what he thought. He didn't have to listen to him. What could he do anyway? He thought, I'm the king. Do you think he was a god? I think he may have thought he was something like kind of a god. But I tell you what, it didn't. Well, you know what Elijah did? Elijah slapped him. No, Elijah didn't slap him. He wouldn't do that. But what he did tell him, you know, he knew that God loved these people so much, and that as this man is the king, he was leading them in wrong. He was leading away from God. And so God was saying, you know, what, did you tell him to slap him? No, he didn't say slap him. But he said, I tell you what, God loved him so much he wanted to get their attention, and he hated to do this. But so he said, there'll be no rain until I say. No rain? Who said that? Elijah said that? Elijah said that. I believe it. God's direction. He said there won't even be any dew. No, nothing. That's no dew, no rain. Said until I say so. You know what? Did Ahab just laugh? I don't know if Ahab laughed or not, but I don't think he believed it. He just went on his way. I think he went home and told his wife. Oh, you better believe he very likely told his wife. And did she conjure up some scheme to come get him? She might have been thinking of some scheme to come and get him. She probably was thinking about it. I think she didn't even believe it. Well, maybe that's right. She might have even believed it. But I'll tell you what, things got really bad. You know, I think that's kind of cruel in a way. Well, what do you mean it's kind of cruel? Well, did Elijah something? Yes, Elijah suffered too. I mean, they didn't have rank. So I think it's cruel. Well, it may seem cruel, but, you know, Chesley, it's important to know God. And if you don't know God, it'd be a terrible thing to not ever serve him and to not to get to live with him in heaven forever. And so that's why it was so important that they get this settled right now. And so that the people would listen to what, and they'd already seen miracles that Elijah had done. And because God had done it, God had worked through him, and they knew of these miracles he had done. I tell you what, Elijah, he's in trouble. What do you mean Elijah's in trouble? You know what? That wicked woman's coming after him. The wicked woman's coming after him. Very likely she is scheming. And when they saw that it didn't rain, and there was not even any dew, and they began to think that Elijah knew what he was talking to them. I think they did think that Elijah knows what he's talking about. And they couldn't stop it because it was in God. It was from God, and they couldn't stop him. And he was the king. Ahab was king, but he was not greater than God. He could not do anything about it. He couldn't make it rain. So I think they were out to get Elijah and just kill him. If they could have just got rid of him. But no, God was protecting him. But you know, Chesley, as time went along, and finally then it came time that the drought was over with. And they knew, he told old King Ahab, and it had now been 3.5 years. 3.5 years! 3.5 long years. And he said, it's going to be over, man. It's going to be over. You better get in your chariot and you better ride, because there's going to be a rainstorm. You know, he looked in the clouds and he said, I don't see anything. There was nothing. There was no sign of it. But the people had been crying out, and they had been praying, and so had Elijah. He wanted the people to repent. And Ahab hadn't paid much attention, but you know, God is reaching out to those that will repent. There's going to be some. Oh, Chesley, all of a sudden, Elijah knows what he has to do. He needs to pray. And God's going to answer prayer. People say God does not answer prayer, but they had already seen God answer prayer for this man in times past. They had seen the fire come down and consume a sacrifice. They had seen miracles, and so they pretty much listened when he went up to pray, and to pray for rain to come. And he hadn't even prayed yet, and he sent that God packing. Yes, that's right. He hadn't even prayed for it yet, but he was going to pray, and he had already told the king, he had already told him, you better get in your chariot and get ready to ride, because there's going to be a rainstorm. He had that much faith and confidence in God that this was God's direction. And so he told his servant, I'm going to go pray. And so he began to pray for rain and prayed to God to send the rain. And he went to he told his servant now, said, you let me know when you see a cloud. Did you see a cloud? And he came back and he didn't. And so God didn't hear. God did. He does hear. And so he prayed again. And he sent the servant to look. And the servant said, there's nothing. That happened 6 times. 6 times, and it's time to just quit. No, it's not time to quit. And you got to change your prayer. No, he didn't change his prayer. The need was rain. And he knew God wanted it to happen. And why wasn't it happening? Did you know that there's those devil has got his imps, his angels, the devil's angels, and they were trying to stop it from raining. And they couldn't let it happen. They were stopping those prayers, trying to stop the prayers, but he couldn't stop those prayers. And Elijah didn't quit. I think I would have just given up. Some people would just give up and say, well, I guess I just don't have it. I guess maybe God's not hearing me. Oh, Elijah knew God answered prayer, and he knew there was a devil, an enemy there that was trying to keep his prayers from getting through. Oh, he kept praying. He prayed again. He didn't know what happened. He told the servant, check it again. This is the 7th time. And he looked and he said, well, I see a little tiny cloud. It's about the size of a man's hand. Well, ain't nothing. How do you even see it? Chesley, he knew what he said. It's a rain cloud. It's going to rain. It's going to rain. Did he have an umbrella? I don't know if he had an umbrella or not, but I know this. It started raining. He said, we've got to get out of here. It's rain. It's going to rain. It did rain. The Bible said all of a sudden it got dark, cloudy, and this rain began to pour. And so Elijah, he got in his chariot, and Ahab was in his chariot, and they had, did they have the chariot race? They had a chariot race, Chesley. You know what? I believe with all of my heart that when we pray, when we obey the Lord, when we love him and we serve him, every time we do that, we honor God. You know what I think he does? I really believe that he smiles and he says, that's my child. He brags. You know how some people will brag on their children. They'll see them win an award or see them win a race, and they'll say, that's my son or that's my daughter. I believe that God is like that. When he sees us praying in spite of opposition, he sees us believing him and loving him and telling others about him. I think he smiles and says, that's my child. May we remember that. He's not there to put us down. He's not there to put us down. And he said, yes, sometimes it may be because he wants to see that we're really determined and we mean business. And you know something? I think practice makes perfect. Practice maybe makes perfect. But Chesley, I was thinking about when they wanted to be in the Olympics, that's those big famous races. Yes, those big famous races. They train for years. And do you think they say, now make it easy? If they're going to run in a maybe a big old long race, do they say, well, I think I'll just do a mile today? They don't do that. They make it really hard. They make it harder and harder and harder because it makes them stronger. And sometimes maybe that's why we have to pray so much, keep praying. But Chesley, we get stronger and we believe. Are you going to turn? Chesley, I believe in praying every day. I do it every day. And what I'm going to do something else you have to do every day is go to bed. Oh, I knew you was getting around to that, Chesley. It's just part of your day is that you get to go to bed. And so you get to go to bed and stuff in that trunk. And you know what? There may be a snake in there. Chesley, there's not a snake in there. Chesley, the snakes, it's winter time and or spring. They're waking up. He's in that trunk. No, Chesley. I looked in your trunk and there is not a snake. Yeah, I'm scared. I think you better go check again. No, Chesley, we're going to put you to bed. If there's one in there, you yell. Oh, I just think I know I ain't going to win. No, you're not going to win. You go to bed, and we'll see you next time, Chesley, next Sunday afternoon. You all be blessed. It's been great being with you. And we'll see you next week, Sunday afternoon. You be blessed.